What was the moment that you realized YouTube could be more than a hobby for you?
When I started making money, I could not believe it. It just blew my mind that I can do this for free, but I make the money. That first check, I was like screaming from the rooftop, how proud you are. It took me 2 years to just get 1,000 subscribers. I was not niche down. My channel name was Laurie Pop, Ideas That Pop. Who searches for that? It was amazing how much niching down helped me. And I think it's because YouTube knows what I'm talking about. They know what this person wants. Ta-da! It's a match made in YouTube heaven.
You hit the nail on the head with it's a match made in heaven to be niche. It actually opens up your creativity.
That's what it did for me.
Laurie is a Houston-based pilot wife and former teacher with a master's in elementary education who transformed her 20-plus years of standby flying experience into a YouTube empire. Her channel, Travel Tips by Laurie, has amassed 66 million views, 350,000 subscribers, and nearly 5 million hours of watch time over 9 years, teaching passengers how to travel the globe with only a carry-on suitcase and zero worries.
I don't know how I can say the same thing over and over, and you're like, oh my gosh, why do people keep watching it? But they do.
The proof is in the pudding, and the people will tell you what they want.
You want what your audience wants. If they're happy, if they're satisfied by your video, then they will keep coming back. If you heard nothing else, if I had started
Wow. What was the moment that you realized that YouTube could be more than a hobby for you?
When I started making money, I could not believe it. This is a free platform, and here I am making money because somebody asked me where I got that picture in the background that had nothing to do with my video that I was talking about. It just blew my mind that I can do this for free, but I make the money from it. And I did start out knowing it was a business, but I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to make a full-time income one day and then surpass that by 3. You know, as a teacher, I was just wanting to use my brain, and YouTube was just another way that I could teach, but also be creative. And I was so scared to niche down. So I wanted to just be super creative and have fun, but I knew it was a business in the background. But then when I started making money, I'm like, okay, I need a strategy. I need to know why these people are watching me. How can I help them more, but be strategic and make more money too, but not sound salesy. It just was a whole process of evolving over like a year and a half. It took me before I was really making money.
And what was that moment when you started to make money? What happened around that in order for that to be able to occur?
I started using Amazon, and one strategy that I utilized from the beginning, I knew that like if I'm going to show something in the background that's not on Amazon, or some outfit, some blouse that I'm wearing, or something that was not on Amazon, I needed LTK. So I got on Instagram and started showing outfit things there just so I could get LTK so that I could have their affiliate and then put their links underneath in my description box of my YouTube videos, because they were the ones who were buying from me. They were the ones who were purchasing something from Amazon, but there were more things they wanted links to. And I'm like, well, I've done the work. I deserve the affiliate income from it. So that was my strategy all along, that first year. Through my links, I was able to help people out easily with the links, but also not just everything can come from Amazon. So that helped me make money sooner, I think. And then I could gear my videos toward that item more of what I would talk about that item or that whole process, and be able to also use an affiliate marker in there from my work and time that I put into that video.
Yeah. And so what you're saying is that you started off using Amazon for affiliates.
Yes.
And is this all on YouTube, or you mentioned Instagram? Was it primarily YouTube for you?
I don't remember how Instagram did it back then. if I could link just from Amazon, because I wasn't a part of like creator connections. I was just like affiliate or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like the basic that
Yeah.
I could have. I don't remember how that worked, but I just wanted to be able to link outfits that were, and I shop at Nordstrom because it's like 5 minutes down the road from me, or
Mm.
Macy's. So I wanted to be able to link those things. And they were worth more than my Amazon things. So my affiliate would earn more too.
That makes sense. So you started off with Amazon and then decided that I don't just want to be limited to Amazon because there's other retailers, there's other stores. And then you brought on LTK. So are you saying that between Amazon and LTK affiliate links is when you started to see some traction with making money with your content?
Yes. And then I would make like from ad revenue, I would make like $200. I remember, I think it was like $60 was something. No, it was over 100, like maybe 160 or something. That first check, I was like screaming from the rooftops, how proud you are
Yeah.
that you did this for free, but it was
Yeah.
sweat and tears to get you there.
Yeah. And so give us some numbers there as far as like the size of the channel you were at when you started to see some traction. So when you got that first check and when you actually in your mind, like you said, oh wow, this isn't a hobby anymore. How much were you making? And then how many views were you getting on your videos and how many subscribers did you have?
I started this 9 years ago, and it took me 2 years to just get 1,000 subscribers. I was not niche down. My channel name was Laurie Pop, Ideas That Pop. Who searches for that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know you started off like that. Oh,
I
funny.
know. It's so embarrassing, but they're still out there. Laurie, ideas that pop into my head. Imagine trying to explain that to a brand.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
to somebody, yeah, that's what my channel's about. It's ideas that just pop into my head.
And
And
they're
now
like,
I know that, hello, YouTube's a search engine. So it took me that long because I'm a creative, and I thought niching down would limit me. But I did look at my analytics finally, and I saw that travel was the most watched. So maybe I remember like after a year we had like a celebration because I did a free giveaway because we had finally reached 50 subscribers.
after 1 year.
And that was like only a year. Yeah. And then it had grown to 2,000 by the second year, but, which is hopeful. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was able to have like just 1,000 views. I remember it was like in the 20s for my total watch time, 20,000. But even with that, like you get a little bit of income as you are growing. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want everybody to do it.
So do I. That's why I do what I do.
You're so good at it too, and you
Oh
get
my
them
gosh.
there faster.
That's the idea. I don't want you to be at 20, we say 20
I know.
subscribers after a year. How often were you uploading? Were you consistent and still only with
Oh
20
yes.
subscribers?
Oh yes. I did one video a week, horizontal. That's all they had back then too.
Mm-hmm.
In front of them, in front of a window, with a really old camera. Didn't even have a light, no microphone. The camera was better than my phone. But anyway, I started where I was, and I was embarrassed the first couple of like a year and a half to 2 years. I knew it wasn't excellent. I was just embarrassed to tell people that I had a YouTube channel. But here I am making money. And my husband is who told me, because I would take a picture outside of the front door of my house, and we're on the thoroughfare. So people be driving by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And he's like, Laurie, you're making money from this. Like, this is your job.
Yeah.
Throw off that embarrassment thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much to unpack here. So you were
Yeah.
a teacher. Were you working full time as a teacher when you were building up that initial phase of your YouTube channel?
Great question. No, my son was in fifth grade. We only have one kid, and he was in
Mm-hmm.
fifth grade. So I had time at night to
Mm-hmm.
watch videos. So I'd been watching YouTube, all the makeup videos that I would watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I had that creative outlet. And I was able to have time to do it during the day. And it did take me hours and hours. I would have seriously had to streamline it if I was working full time. But I would script it out. I still script out my videos. And then I would go line by line and make up so many mistakes.
So you weren't working at the time and you were uploading one
Video a
video,
week.
one long form video a week. And at the time, it was not niched down to travel tips by Laurie. So you were just kind of randomly creating videos. You said you took a look at your analytics and that was what made you decide to niche down, or take us back to that decision of, oh, if I niche down, I might get some more traction.
Trends show truth. So the statistics showed me what people were watching. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I was to talk about travel, because my husband's a pilot and that makes people remember me. If I say, as a pilot's wife, we have to pack only in carry-on luggage. So, and some people, I get so much hate from that, but they'll never forget that pilot wife is the one who told them some travel tip. So when I was like, well, what could I talk about with travel? Oh, yeah, carry on suitcase. I know how to pack. Okay. And then you just go, blah, 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 blah. Like all the rabbit holes you could go down just helped open up my creativity. And so I just made like little pillars, like bloggers talk about it. And I have a blog back then, pillars of, like travel hacks,
Content pillars.
travel
Yeah.
tips. Yeah. Like, just breaking it down and then going all in on those topics. And then, we flew standby so much, because our parents are on both ends of the country. So I had pictures then that I could upload into it. So it really helped do a double whammy of them trusting me. After I did the 2000, it was under 2000 when I niched down, like 1500-ish. I had niched down. I mean, I was at 10,000 subscribers the next year. It was amazing how much niching down helped me. And I think it's because YouTube knows what I'm talking about. They know what this person wants. Ta-da! It's a match made in YouTube heaven. And it just took off from there. I could not believe, I think I had 60,000 the next year. And that was, COVID. Well, travel, nobody's going anywhere except us, because we went to all the open states because we could fly standby. And I made all this content, had pictures, videos, because now people here were saying, oh, where can we go in America? So here we are in whatever that national park is in Montana. Here are 10 things to do there, where to eat, and then God just keeps giving me ideas, and then I get creative in those ideas too. So that's really fun to do with my videos. And the creative ideas just keep coming. And I just get so excited because I get to use my brain in a different way.
Yeah.
And use it as a businesswoman. And I can be proud of like how I'm thinking as a businesswoman, which I never thought I would be a businesswoman growing up. I wanted to be a teacher. I was a teacher for 8 years. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. I'm able to use my talent and do what I love. Like, it was important. I don't know how I can say the same thing, working with me, that I'm saying the same thing sometimes over and over. And you're like, oh my gosh, why do people keep watching it? But they do.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking of a totally different way to spin it that makes even more sense, or it's a visual that they can do. And I think from a teaching background, that's one thing that I think I do well is I hit the different learners, like the auditory, the visual, the having the word to on the text, and I'm holding up my fingers to, like little things like that, that you helped me with too. And the analytics, especially, but the niching down just soared. I fought it for so long, but it's possible to have a broad niche too. Travel is very broad. I don't do hotels all the time. I mean, like 2, and they don't do well.
Yeah.
That's not what my audience is here for. So you can be broadly niched and then still be specific and creative and loosey-goosey. Or you can be more specific.
And I think it's great. You touched on something that this is what I tell people too, because I think there's a trend right now on YouTube is a lot of people are like, you see a lot of the experts and the YouTube experts and even people like, oh no, you don't have to niche. You don't have to niche. Niching is like overrated. But you hit the nail on the head with like, it's a match made in heaven to be niche because one, YouTube knows what you're talking about. And two, it actually opens up your creativity, which is, I think, mind blowing for some people. They think that they're limited by niching down.
That's what it did for me. It opened up my creativity.
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. So, what advice would you give somebody who kind of had that same mindset that you did about niching down? Because a lot of people, especially women, because I work with women, they're like, "Well, I'm multi passionate. I have so many different interests." Like I'm thinking about somebody right now in my boot camp, and she's like, "I want to do this and this and this," and it's like, and I think people are hesitant because they feel like a part of themselves is not going to be in the content. But what advice would you give someone, or maybe warnings or mistakes that you give someone who was that person that you were maybe like, 8 or 9 years ago, whenever that was?
I would say do it. Try it on your own. Try it in your own way and fight it like I did. Like I learned from experience. My mom could tell me 10 times over, don't do this. And I will cross that line and do it. So then I won't ever do it again. But it's just, it's going to take you too much time if you don't niche down somewhat. You're going to do it alone. If you don't listen to the wise, sage advice from people who have fought it for years and suffered the consequences, left money in somebody else's pocket because I'm stubborn. I don't want to give up that part of me. Since it is part of you, it's going to come out eventually. It will through your personality and through a story that you're telling after the 4-minute mark. Sometime, it's going to come out. And then, it's beautiful. Or try a couple of videos maybe that are just niche down and then look at your analytics and see what the proof is.
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding and the people will tell you, right? The people will tell you what they want.
That's what you want. You want what your audience wants.
Mm-hmm. Cause you want to see success.
Yes.
You want to make money.
Yes. If they're happy, if they are satisfied by your video, then they will keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. If you're niched, they will keep coming back because they want that information.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on the fact that, and I think this is sometimes people do worry about this is, well, I feel like I'm saying the same thing again and again, but my most successful clients, like people like yourself, they are saying the same thing again and again and again. And it's not a problem that I think creators think that it is. It actually can help you because that becomes part of your messaging and your personal brand. What are your thoughts on that? Because you are very niche and very specific. Like you said, travel, there's a whole bunch of things you can talk about with travel. And I remember working with you, we were kind of like playing around with that, but it was like, no, you're like the queen on I was always blown away with your videos. I'm like, how does she pack for a 3-week European vacation in the snow with just a carry-on, right? So you're the queen of that. And literally all your videos, or almost all of them, you do, travel, some travel advice, but a lot of it really centers around packing for a carry-on. And that seems so specific. So how do you keep your content fresh when you really are talking about almost the same thing again and again and again and again? And you continue, for those of you that aren't familiar with Laurie's channel, look at her views. She has incredible views. So despite the fact she's talking about, the same topic again and again, people are still coming back.
Yes. Like from the 20,000 views, I now have like 5 million views since 9 years, which is fantastic. Hours, 5 million hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have way more than 5 million views. Yeah.
5 million hours that
Yeah.
people have spent returning to my videos. And sometimes I'm like, this is really not for returners. They learned how to pack and carry on. They should be done with me. But there's something about my personality or my content that keeps them coming back. However, I do think that when you're talking about the same thing, it's helpful to look in the questions, in the comments. You know how you can filter the comments by questions, and that really does give you 5 new video ideas, but then spin it in a different way. You know, think of it from a beginner. Think of it at different levels of your niche. A beginner, what would they need to know? What would a minor need to know about traveling by themselves or something like that? Just a different level of the person who's watching you that could help. And then just the pillars, discovering what the pillars are. What are your audience's pain points? And what does your community keep saying? I wish you would talk about this. I wish you would talk about this. Like, find out where your audience is from. Like, most of my audience is from the US. A lot of them now are from Australia. Well, their bags are like this size that they're allowed to bring in the airplane. I can't help them, you know, so it's frustrating. So I'm looking for a bag that's like this big for some of their rules. I'm not sure why airlines are doing that now, but, and then another thing that I did was, I mean, I brought somebody else, my husband as a pilot. Those videos do not get many views, but the people who want to know what a pilot says about something, they watch every single minute pretty much. It is in my niche, but it's way outside of what my audience and community tells me they want. It's a gift to those people. And the turbulence one went way up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know, and that's another thing too that Erika taught me. She's like, this video back here a year ago, now it's doing well because of some awful turbulent flight that somebody recorded something on where everybody survived. The turbulence. Well, now they're watching my videos. So Erika tells me what to do with that video so that it's fresh in this new year. And that is just something that you can do that stretches your niche, but keeps you niched as well. But you can kind of play around with it, especially while you're growing. Give YouTube what they want. Then you can play around later.
That is so, it's so true about give YouTube what they want while like in those first stages, because you can play like at the size that you're at right now, you can play around with like putting your husband on there. But I think the videos with your husband, I remember we talked about this, is like, I do feel like it complements it. Like, it's not like you're doing like a video on gardening, right? So it's like, it's still tangentially related. And the people that do find you that are curious about the turbulence and say that video, you know, that video did go viral, there's still going to be some interest in the other topics and videos that you have. So it's not like you have a random video on like gardening go viral.
Right.
You get new subs, and those subs are not going to be necessarily interested in travel tips by you. So even though it's like playing around with it, it's still doing it in a very strategic and smart way.
Yes. Which we have to be. And women are. We can make things happen. We are strategic in our everyday life. I mean, we can do it all if it was up to us.
Yeah.
Or if we had to, we could do so much. So we have all that quick thinking and strategic thinking in us.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. So share with us your content creation process from like ideation, like where do you get your ideas from, all the way to, you know, thumbnail, title, and, you know, making it go live.
Like so many people, I have notes inside my notes, ideas inside the notes section. I used to take a journal when I would fly, because when I get away, just like a lot of other creatives, when we take a break and stop the noise, that's when we get creative. So I do have to do that. Like several times this year, I've been so busy. I have had to like go exercise without my music or a podcast in my ears, because I just need some quiet space to be creative. So I would have an idea. Then I would go in and search for a title that fits that using keywords. And then I would say, okay, well, what's the first few tips that I want to hit? And then I would start scripting out. Like, I don't even outline, I script. When I was a teacher, I would script out pretty much everything in the little bitty boxes that we had in a lesson plan book. But it helps me if I can script it out, then I know visually what I'm going to go through. And then I would say, okay, now I'm going to think, what is the thumbnail? What's the gripper that these people are going to want to watch this video from? With your help, oh, tremendously. You taught me how to do that for the most part. I mean, now we don't work together and I
I know.
need you so bad for that. But you helped me with thumbnail design as well, or knowing what words to put up there and all that design and the magic that has to
Mhm.
happen for YouTube to make
Mhm.
people stop, you know. But then, so I do the title and thumbnail kind of first-ish while I'm thinking of the first few tips. And then I'll go through and say, okay, what can I list out in this video? Here are the things that I can make a list from, because my strategy is if I can give them a list, they think they're learning, and then it makes them come back, because I'm going to say, and then if you want more, I've got 2 more tips at the end of this video that you can watch, or I'll put it in the first pinned comment or the description box. So I make lists. What can I make a list from? And then I'll figure out what day can I edit. The day that I edit, I set a timer for 10 minutes and I go around my house and I'm like, all right, what can I pick up that I'm going to show in this video? The tech gear or the lipstick for dry airplanes or something like that. And that way I can hold it up instead of having to add B-roll at that part. Because when I edit, I have to put in, since I'm talking about my bag and the corner of the bag, I have to take the picture of that bag. So I have to be the one to put in that picture of the corner of the bag. It's easier for me to just do that instead of telling an editor to do that. And then, so I gather as many things that I can hold up, because if people see you hold up something and then you can zoom in on it while you're talking about it too, that changes the angle. So they're seeing me hold it up, then they're seeing a zoomed in thing of me, of what I'm holding. So it keeps people watching, and I want to keep people watching. So I'll gather all those things so they're within reach. So I'm not like, oh crap, I got to go get my stuff. And that helps. And then I have an edit day, and I don't make the B-roll right then. I will just make the B-roll after I video everything. Then I'll video, like I'll do a little video clip of this gear or this lip gloss or something like that, so that when I do edit, I can drop it in later.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sure there's more, but there's a few
Yeah,
things there. You gave a
that's a
lot of
lot.
good stuff. So many of your videos are very product related. So I think it was interesting how you said you set a timer for 10 minutes and you're just looking for all the things that you mention in the video, right? Or that you're going to mention. And then on top of that though, you do film additional B-roll in addition to
Yes.
like the products that you're holding up. So then you mentioned this idea of like the different angles, which I agree with you. It's this idea of like every few seconds or however many you want a different image. So you're doing a combination of talking head, you sharing a product or, sharing a product, and then also whatever B-roll that comes in.
Yes.
And how long does that take you?
Oh, it takes me so long, Erica. I do have an editor too. And
Oh,
the
okay.
editor just trims the ums and me yelling at the light that fell down, the dog barking, trims all that stuff. And then he'll put like text that pops
Okay.
up on screen and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
most of it, he'll add some B-roll if there's dead space where I'm just talking, and he can add like some baggage claim,
Mm-hmm.
luggage going around a carousel. But that too is worth every penny to me, because it's one less
Thing you have to
20
do.
second thing that I have to do later.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mm-hmm.
I do have to drop in my own B-roll. And I like switching it up because of attention span,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to keep people watching.
100%. And you do one video a week. With the
Yes.
scripting, share with us the process of scripting, because I know I get a lot of questions about scripting, and I think there's a camp of people who are anti-scripting because they say it takes way too much time to do, and also you have so much practice with it, Laurie, but like a lot of people come off as robotic, right? And then there's a camp of people that say, no, scripting makes editing so much easier, and then it makes the filming so much easier, and you don't forget. So share with me your process for scripting, literally from start to finish, and what you use for that, if there's any tools or anything.
Really, scripting allows me to just get it out, like to brain dump almost, but I have an order to it as I'm writing. The only thing that makes it easier is I can send it to my VA and she can turn it into a blog post. So having that script already done, it gives her access to that. But I think that if you script, you can see the blank spaces. Okay, there's no list here in these 4 paragraphs. I've got to add some kind of list or some attention grabbing meat to the content here. So it does help you I see a little visual of where you need to tweak or add in some bonus information. I also like that I can see the keywords that I'm using and see if I'm using them too often. I had a viewer say one time, oh my gosh, they always say, oh, I'm so glad you told us you were a pilot's wife. If I hear her say pilot wife one more time, blah, blah, blah. But I was not keyword stuffing. But one of them was like travel essentials from Amazon. When I was first starting the travel essentials, probably 5 years ago after 2021, after I started doing that, I'm like, oh gosh, it is too repetitive. I have keyword stuffed. It sounds fake.
Yeah.
So like some people, when they're trimming a video, like you can see them look at the script and you can see them turn back. So
Yes.
they need to
Yes.
trim it. So it's excellent. Like you don't want to see them looking off, that kind of thing. And I will keep saying it over and over until it sounds conversational. And then they have to trim that stuff so that I do sound more conversational. And I also, through my script, I try to throw in just 2 questions in a video. And they need to be authentic. Like, tell us where you're watching from, or tell us where you're going next. That's too canned of a prompt.
Yeah.
It's too fake. I'm not going to answer if you told me that. You don't care. You're not going to be looking, but like I have friends coming from Mexico City and we're going to take them to a Mexican restaurant. We're going to go visit. Yeah. If you've ever been to Mexico City, give me all the details below. That's more authentic, but that was a strategy. Like, even though that authentic comment question came out, I still worked on it to make sure it sounded authentic, that somebody really would want to answer, because the more they comment, the longer they're on my channel. So that gives me watch time hours. And that's another reason why I don't hide every one of the ugly comments. Like, I just keep them talking. I don't delete most of them unless it's like, these people are Nazis in the TSA, and ugly political. I'll just hide that person from my channel forever. But if they're ugly comments and they're leaving this long slew of ugly comments, I don't care, because it gives me watch time hours and it keeps more people commenting back to them. I just tell my audience, hey, you're going to see the clickbait ugly comments. Just ignore them. They are just doing it to be ugly. I don't even read them,
Yeah. And
so,
how long does it take you to actually write out the script?
Probably 30 minutes max.
Oh, super
and
fast.
I just keep, because I have the ideas in my notes, just some kind of notes. To me, that helps.
Yeah. And is it a script that you're literally reading word for word, or is it just more of like okay, so it takes you 30, that's pretty quick. And are you use a teleprompter, or are you using are you going, okay.
I just use I'm looking at the camera right over my computer, and I have my font of my script. So I'm not using my glasses to reflect all the lights that I use, 4 lights that I use. So I use my script on my Word document or whatever, or pages, and it's at like size 45 font.
Yeah. So interesting.
I have to have it.
Yeah.
I know. It's a crutch for sure. I probably need to get off of it and just do a timeline or an outline, but it works.
I mean, it works. It only takes you 30. If you would have said, well, it takes me like 6 hours to put together a script, I'd be like, well, yeah, let's talk about that, because that's not the best workflow, only taking you 30 minutes. You're getting crazy good views. It's like, if it works, it works. There's not, that's the thing. There's so many different ways to do YouTube, and you have to find what works for you. And then so do you have you used or tried to use any type of AI tools in your process, from like the scripting, the titles, the thumbnails, any of that?
Yep. I use ChatGPT sometimes when I'm trying to make a list.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great use of ChatGPT. A list or a further, like a title, 10
Mm-hmm.
title ideas for this topic. Some of them are so fake,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just put my spin on it.
Yeah.
Like, what are the
Mm-hmm.
pain points of a person who has a broken leg going to the airport or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So coming up with like actual like ideas for the content
Mhm.
itself.
Yep, that helps. It's not a crutch. And I don't want it to become a crutch because it takes out from why people followed me to begin with, was what I had to bring to the table. There are lots of people they can watch. If I'm going to just use some script from AI every time or throughout my whole video, people are going to be turned off because it's not me anymore.
I think that's the risk with AI. I think AI can really enhance the creative process, but I worry about people who start to use it a lot, and then it's like, oh wow, this is great, this is great, and then it becomes very, AI is artificial, right? So there's that element of like there's no humanity there, and I'm a big fan of it. I think it's great. I've been working on all these different tools and things I'm going to be using, but there's like this fine line between like still
Right.
keeping who you are as a person. Like with you, Laurie, it's like you've got this experience of traveling, and your husband's a pilot and all these things, like you said. And then just like, okay, put together a script, da, 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 and then spitting it out and just reading it. It's like at some point, I do think the content's going to suffer if you do that.
Yeah, I do use it if I'm going to do a short.
Mm.
I'll put in my entire script from that video and say, make 3 short ideas. But
Hmm.
really, it's just for speed. That's
Yeah.
what I used it for in that sense. But really, I can just get one of my lists that I made in my video and make that into its own short,
Yeah.
and that takes 30 seconds. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, there's some good use cases for sure, like things like that. Like
yeah,
even, just taking like your scripts and being able to do things with them or coming up
right,
with stuff. So there's a lot of good use cases. And like you said, it's about saving time and then like enhancing the creative process, not replacing the creator.
right.
All right, let's talk a little bit monetization. So, we started this interview with you talking about how, it was no longer a hobby because it was making money. You're being strategic with your affiliates. So, what are the main income streams that you have for your content? And like what percentage of it is coming from what? Like what percentage is coming from affiliates versus brand deals versus, AdSense?
Okay, so on YouTube, 99% of it is AdSense.
Mm-hmm.
Brands every couple of months I'll work with maybe one, but I don't search them out. It's hard. It's a great a great bonus to work with a brand, and then it's a lot of extra work to work with a brand as well. And so sometimes it's just not worth my time, or either I'm not charging enough. And so I have 350,000 subscribers, but we know from Erika that that's not all that important. But a baseline, 350,000 subscribers, I charge about 15% of that or whatever, like $4,500 ish for a brand. Maybe I should be charging more. I don't know, but it's so much work. I'd rather do without it sometimes because I'm making so much with AdSense. 99% of that. Now I can do the shopping affiliate on YouTube. So that is like 1% really. I haven't done a lot of packing videos lately. Actually, I've done 2 this year. For me, my strategy is going to be hitting the shopping affiliate more
Mm-hmm.
because there are things that I could be using in YouTube if I would just stretch my thinking. So that's one of my strategies I'm going to be implementing. And then, I get like maybe $50. I got maybe $50 last year from the super thanks
Oh
or
yeah.
one of those things that people can tip you or whatever. And that's it. And then Amazon, and then Instagram, LTK, that type of thing, because not everything from LTK is a shopping YouTube affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
And like Walmart, people can show Walmart finds. Well, as a viewer, if I click on somebody's shopping affiliate that pops up in the bottom left corner, view products that is from Walmart, most of the time it has sold out and I'm
Yeah.
frustrated as a viewer. So I
Yeah.
don't want to use Amazon, and you can't use Amazon for shopping affiliate, but I don't want to use Walmart very often or lean on them because
It
it's
sells
never going to
out.
be in stock.
Mm-hmm.
So most people are still going into the description box to find the links for like LTK stuff. But like if I shopped at REI versus um, REI versus
Target.
some other store, yeah, that may have it more often or more available for people, that would help. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the brand sponsorship. I'm really trying to help or ask hotels for free stays. I think that's helpful, but it's not my YouTube channel. So that's kind of an Instagram angle
Mm-hmm.
that I would go towards.
Yeah, because even though you're a travel channel, you're technically not. And I remember talking to you about this when we first started working together. You're not like a travel vlogger, right? You give
Right.
travel tips. So I'm surprised that you don't make more or have a higher percentage of affiliate sales from YouTube, because I feel like while not all of your videos are product based, you have a lot that are like product based or Amazon based. I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised that that isn't more of a percentage with the affiliates.
Yeah, well, because I put so many links in the description box, they're
Mhm.
using the LTK link versus
Oh yeah,
versus the shopping affiliate.
I was more referring to what percentage of your income is from affiliates from YouTube channels. So when I think of that, it's like that it's the YouTube is driving the traffic to Amazon to
Mm.
LTK. So does
Hmm.
that change the numbers a little bit?
Yes, because with LTK, if they click on links in the description box, one thing that may be helpful to people is to know that this link is for YouTube audience and this link is for the Instagram audience or your
Mhm.
blog, whatever, wherever, if you have another audience, so that you can track
Track it.
who's buying from what. Because I don't know if the LTK is coming from YouTube or from Instagram. So it's hard for me to tell.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say if I'm doing my whole income, I would say probably 85% is AdSense, and then 15% would be from all of my LTK. And then
Mhm.
Amazon would probably be about another 10%.
Mhm.
That,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, the
breaks it
massing,
down.
yeah. Yeah, but like, okay, so that's interesting. So, I mean, you do get very good views on your videos. So I can see how AdSense would play a big part in that, because of the views. And it's interesting how you mentioned with the brand deals that, it's like looking at the subscribers, but the views is usually what determines the brand deals.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One thing I thought of, another revenue stream that I have is now that I have a VA, she makes a freebie on Canva. And y'all, this has been so helpful for getting emails from my audience. I just started a year and a half ago. Okay. 350,000 subscribers. I already have 50,000 emails that I can send a
Wow.
$3 printable of things to do in New York. And how many people do you think want that? Because it's so cheap. Maybe 100 people buy it. That's $300 right
Mm-hmm.
there for you
Mm-hmm.
starting out. So
Mm-hmm.
as long as if I wish I would have started 9 years ago, if you heard nothing else, if I had started collecting emails 9 years ago by giving a freebie in the description box, just make one of the lists into a freebie, beautiful download and get that email. And then 5 years from now, or 2 years from now, you can sell a $3 or a $19.99 thing for Christmas in New York City, something like that. So that has been oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have waited this long to do these little bitty printables that are free. And that's how I have brought my Instagram audience to my YouTube videos as well,
Mm-hmm.
because now I send a newsletter just once a month. I hate emails. I hate them, but we need the emails to give them freebies so they trust us. And then eventually, like, because I don't sell things in my newsletters every time, but I would say eventually I'll say, hey, we're coming into fall travel. It's rainy weather. Here are some my top 5 rainy travel gear. And they may buy it, and that because they know that I'm not pushing stuff down their throat in every newsletter. The email list, I knew that you were supposed to, but I didn't know how to get it. So
Mm,
just a free printable, it
yeah.
just helps so much.
So do you promote your pre-printable in your videos, I'm assuming?
I do. I try to remember to do it, but now I have them every once in a while. I'll put one in the description box, but now I've also auto populated with some of the ones that I'm selling. Like
Mm,
something was for Italy. It's like a guide for Europe, guide to packing for Europe. And I included like outfit lists or something like that. $11. Oh my gosh. And it's in the bottom of every single email. Well, through my newsletter, maybe 5 people bought it. I
hmm.
mean, that's how few people read your newsletter. So
Yeah.
that's why you've got to collect them now, get them
Mhm.
as many as you can. But now my videos have ramped up again. And so more people, I mean, probably 200 people have bought that Europe thing
Yeah.
because it's in the bottom of the description box and the first comment. And I don't mention it anymore,
But you could in
Yeah,
relevant videos, right? You do a European video
totally.
and be like, "Oh, by the way, I know this is a packing, for Europe, but like I have this printable." That's amazing. How many
Yes.
printables do you have that are for sale?
Just 3 that are
Okay.
for sale. Hmm.
Yeah. Email is a very powerful tool that you can use and like you have it forever, right? So now those 50,000 people say, God forbid something does happen to YouTube. We all see what's going on with TikTok. You at least have those 50,000 people that you can market to. And like you said, you can, oh, check out my most recent video. I mean, that's for me how I've built my whole business is my email list. And, you're on my emails. I give value. You want to give value. And the value is definitely the content you're creating, but then, also promoting your own products and services. And I know some people too that really they have a very, very built out and lengthy like weekly newsletter, and it's very much for affiliate sales. And they see a lot of success with affiliate sales through their email. I mean, there's a whole strategy there. I know I've worked on with people where it's a combination of like, okay, taking some of the content from your videos and then putting it in the newsletter and then having a lot of value in the newsletter mixed in with these links. And it's a great, I mean, people look forward to these newsletters. Like if they're weekly, you said yours are monthly, but like, even weekly or monthly newsletters, you give enough value and stuff. People like it. Like, oh, well, here are the links. Okay, this makes it easy. I'm on my phone. Like I can boom, 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 right? So I'm so
Yes.
glad you brought that up, Laurie.
And for beginners, before you're making all this AdSense money, before you're making a bunch of affiliate stuff, it is such an easy way to make extra money and show them that they can trust you. You're not going to throw affiliates every single email you send
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
It's valuable stuff, free
Yeah. Even if
downloads
it's
for
just
people.
to collect emails, just to tell people about your next video, or just
Exactly.
like, here, this is like a really good story but the key is, like you said, is like, you just have to start collecting them right away.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's huge. Okay. So we're going to wrap up the last part of this interview with talking a little bit about working with me in the sense of like why you decided to get coaching. Like, so at what point in your YouTube journey did you realize that you might benefit from working with someone like me with a coach and getting that outside help?
Like almost everybody, I felt stuck. I felt, I feel like I'm missing something. Like I could be up here with views, but I'm just down here still. And I was doing great. I think I had like 160,000 when I started with you.
Yeah, it
Um,
was like it was under 200 for sure. I remember.
and because it was monumental when we hit 200,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I knew that I was stuck and I didn't know how to read my analytics, like what it meant. Like, who cares that there were 55% of watch time. I don't know what that means. So
Yeah.
that's why and you're advertising and listening to your podcasts back then did it for me. Listening to other people
Mm-hmm.
made me see, okay, they have a lot of viewers, but they also benefited from it. And so I'm like, okay, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is, since it's a business, it's a write-off.
Yeah,
So it's
it's a business
investing
expense.
in my business by getting help, but then also amping up my
Mm-hmm.
revenue and all that stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff that I don't care about, but I know I need.
Yeah. And my goal always is for people to, you get an ROI back, right? And way more than what you put into investing in coaching.
Yes.
Did you have any skepticism about getting outside help and YouTube coaching? And if so, how did that change for you?
Well, there weren't a lot of people out there, especially women,
Mm-hmm.
who have what it takes. Also, you're my style. Like, you're pleasing to look at, listen to, like you're pretty, you're
Mm-hmm.
professional. And I'm like, okay, I can be her,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
she knows that you want to look pretty on camera. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like vain or whatever,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever, because it's all just branding. It's
It's all
all
branding.
branding.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so I felt like, okay, she is worth investing in because she knows what it takes and she's portraying what it takes
Mm-hmm.
in her business too.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I love your website and your funnels and everything. Beautiful,
Thank
beautiful
you.
job.
Thank you. I
Because I
appreciate
haven't
that.
seen, yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a couple of years, so it
Oh,
looks
yeah. I
fantastic.
completely redid my website. I mean, to me, it is. It's like you said, it's like branding. And like, I have those tough talks, not with you, but with some, I have a client. I love her and she's gorgeous, but I'm like, and we've become friends. So we've hung out in person and stuff because she lives here in Southern California. And I'm like, girl, do your hair. like put some makeup on, And it's just that tough love. And she's like, yeah, it just takes time. I'm like, you're putting your best self forward in front of the camera. But obviously there's a fine line of, I want people to be authentically who they are. But I've seen her and I'm like, but you wear makeup in real life. So why aren't you doing it in front of the camera? Right. So it's like, you want to stay authentic, but you also want to be the best version of yourself. So.
I also the athlete background, I don't know what it is. I rise to people stepping on my toes. And you don't
Mm.
push, you don't get in
Mm-hmm.
my face, but you
Mm-hmm.
step on my toes. And when you step on somebody's toes, it makes them think. So I appreciate
Mm.
how blunt you are. Like you're not trying to be my best friend. You
Mhm.
are working with me to make me rise to this elevation. And I really appreciated the blunt, like, no, this is what it looks like, Laurie.
Laurie, this thumbnail sucks.
No.
I'm like, good effort.
No, Laurie.
We got a way to go. We got a way to go. Let's work on this a little bit more. Well, I mean, you hire me for a job and it's my job,
Yep.
right? It's not my
Yep.
job. But I always try and I always try and do it in a way of like, it's just like that, like that loving way of doing it. But it's like, you have a goal. I want us to get to that goal. And I don't want you to get in your own way of your goal. And that's the thing what happens with women. Oh, I want this. I want this. I want this. It's like, okay, you told me you want this. Let's do it. Let's roll up our sleeves and do it. And I don't want you getting in your way. So,
Yeah. And I knew that I needed more than the boot camp,
mhm.
the course or
Yeah, the
whatever
boot
it
camp.
was.
Mm-hmm.
I needed one-on-one. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was specific enough that I needed to invest in that upper level of coaching. Yeah, just the little tweaks. Like you gave little tweaks that just made such a difference in AdSense revenue. Little things like that behind the scenes that I never would have known to do.
Yeah. YouTube is so interesting because there's so many moving parts to YouTube. You don't think it, but it like little tweaks here and there, little tweaks with their titles, little tweaks with their thumbnail, little tweaks with the way you present yourself on camera, little tweaks with the way your outline is, little tweaks with your delivery. Like it all really does add up and make a big difference. So what specific aspect of your channel experienced the most improvement by working with me and having a coach?
My thumbnails. My thumbnails. Oh my gosh. Because it was just me. So my thumbnails really made an impression, humongous change. I mean, I never want to go back to what I was doing. It helps so much. And even now I'm like, okay, what would Erika say? Oh, yeah, she would say, do it again. I mean, it takes longer than writing the stupid script, like
Oh,
four
yeah.
times as long. And it will be days. So I know not to try and do a thumbnail in one day. Like just, like
Yeah, you
not
have to
eight
let it
hours.
process. Yeah.
Exactly. Look at it with fresh eyes. I asked my husband, I'm like, what does this look like? What do you see? And now I'll show him another version. What do you see?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
it's almost Erica worthy for the most part.
It's I have to say you're such a good client and we worked together for a while and because you're always game. Like it's one of those things where it's like you present me a thumbnail and I like that you presented me the thumbnail because you came up with ideas and stuff, but it's like, okay, we're going to change it around, right? You were always game. You always came back and you did it. And you roll up your sleeves and you're always willing to do the work, which I really appreciate, which I think really paid off for you because
Yes.
some of those thumbnails, like I look back, I was looking at your channel. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that thumbnail. Remember that thumbnail. Remember that thumbnail. And I'm like, oh wow, that has like 2 million views. That has like 800,000 views, 200,000 views. So, that little tweaks and stuff, going back and forth, I mean, it can really help, you know?
And your thumbnail is what's going to grab people
Hmm.
like as soon as you upload a video. And for YouTube, you want lots of views right when you upload.
100%. And then also, I think with yours, a little bit of the challenge that I had, which is good. I love every niche is a little different. It was always like, I remember this. It's like, okay, how do we, because it's a very specific niche of packing, carry-ons and all that. How do we decipher? And I remember that was the thing with you, like, okay, how is this video a little bit different than the other ones? How do we make it distinct from all the other videos? Because every video does have its own point. Like you said, to your point, like there's all these different rabbit holes you can go down with one topic. But now how do we present that to people so they don't forget and think that they watched the same video a week ago or 2 weeks ago? How do we make it a little bit different? So that was always, I think with yours, that was always in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, knowing your content so well, because we worked together for such a while, I'm like, how do we make this one different than that one that we did, or still use some of the same elements because that video went viral, but now how do we make it a little bit different?
Yes, absolutely.
Lots to think about. Was there something that you learned through the coaching that completely contradicted what you had believed about YouTube?
There was nothing that contradicted what I thought about YouTube. I had an aha moment and I had been doing it for 7 years. But with this course, especially with the coaching, it just helped me lift my own eyes off of what I was doing and look at it with fresh, brand new eyes to give it almost like a complete overhaul.
Mm,
Like I was looking at it again from the start with a different mindset shift as well,
yeah.
versus like, how can I teach them something, to what is the strategy I'm going to use behind this that's going to get watch time hours also, and all that, and make them come back. It was just that overhaul mindset
Hmm.
with fresh eyes that I
Hmm.
saw. Like it really was like a light bulb moment. And I talk about the same thing for the last 7 years, but then it helped me.
What was the light bulb moment exactly that you had to be a little bit more strategic, or what was that?
It was looking at my analytics and saying, okay, what can I tweak right here? Here's what's happening here. Here's what's happening here. Here's what's happening here. Why don't you just tweak it, and it's going to make a whole difference? And
Mhm.
the thumbnail, I was shocked that made such a difference as well. But not only the thumbnail, those little tweaks were huge
Yeah.
for overhaul and aha moments for me.
Yeah. And so that brings me to my next question, which you kind of answered. Like, how has your decision making for your YouTube channel now changed as a result of having someone like me and working with me for the length of time that you did?
I mean, I always think of the viewer first. It is not about me. It is about the viewer. What are they telling me they want me to make a video on? What can I tweak for the next video? Like, I never have it perfect. I'm always going to learn something from each video now that I can do better in the next video. But and I'm not going to go crazy over looking at my analytics, but just finding those peaks and dips and then changing that, either what I say or what I'm doing or what I have appear on text. That is going to change it for the next video, I think, is how I think differently now. And the thumbnail design now, I think differently about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Laurie, I think we covered it all. You had so much insight into YouTube. And I love the fact that you started off, you have this history of being a teacher and bringing that element to YouTube. And I think it's a really good lesson for people on niching down. I think that's such an important thing that you talked about, because it's almost like this old school YouTube advice that I think people that I see now are like, oh, you don't need a niche down. Like, everybody has a different way of doing YouTube, and some people can really thrive and have a lifestyle channel. You even mentioned that yourself. Like, there's a lot of great lifestyle channels, and there's a very specific way of doing that, though. Very specific. But then you have people like yourself that are super niche, and personally, I think it makes things a lot easier. So thank you for sharing that.
I'm glad to help.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on that as we wrap it up?
No, it's just keep going and use Erika. If you need her, use her.
I'm here.
Like, it's your business. It is your business. If you want to invest in your business, like, it's for the good of you. It can only help.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Laurie. Thank you for coming on. And for people that are not familiar with you and your content and what you do, where can they find you?
Travel Tips by Laurie. Everywhere.
Yep. And I love how the branding, you always wear the t-shirts, like, right? Show people airplane mode on. I think it's so cute. So Laurie in all her videos is wearing some kind of t-shirt related to what you do, being,
Yep.
Travel Tips by Laurie. So the branding is always on point. You're very good with that. Well, thank you so much, Laurie.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.